homes raided, phones seized, allegations of voter suppression. That's what's going on in Texas as we speak. Cecilia Castellanos says, quote, "This is all political."
A total of now 15 people in Frio County are facing charges in connection to a vote harvesting case. This week,
I've got a wild one for y'all today. This story is breaking out of Texas, and it's heating up fast. Right now, we've got 15 people indicted in a full-blown voter fraud operation. And no, this isn't just some random nobodies. We're talking judges, former mayors, and candidates. All of them allegedly caught up in a voter harvesting scheme that's straight out of a political crime novel. And the kicker? Some folks were paid in Dr. Peppers and cigarettes. Yeah, you heard that right. Literal soda and smokes. How cheap some of these votes were going for. They allegedly targeted elderly voters, the poor, or people who didn't have access to transportation, just swooping in and grabbing ballots like they were on a shopping spree. This wasn't about helping people, this was about winning elections by any means necessary. And yes, these folks were Democrats. All of them now. Here's where it gets even crazier. CNN actually tried to cover for them. They gave this mess the soft treatment because, well, the accused are on their team. We're talking about Democrats breaking laws, rigging elections, and then getting media cover like it's just another Tuesday. And if it were the other way around, you know damn well CNN would have had breaking news banners flying every 5 minutes. This isn't just voter fraud. This is weaponized corruption wrapped up in fake compassion. They exploited vulnerable communities, all in the name of protecting democracy. But what they were really doing was dismantling it from the inside. The fact that people in positions of power were involved makes it even more disgusting. And now, it's all coming out in court. So yeah, we love a good scandal, especially when it exposes the dirty games behind closed doors. This is bigger than one election. It's about a system being hijacked by those who claim to care the most. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you think the media is going to keep covering this up, or will it finally blow up like it should? Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in. This saga is far from over.
Not a story that's been unfolding over the course of years surrounding election fraud. 9 additional people in Frio County are now facing charges in connection to a vote harvesting case stretching back to 2022. 6 public officials were already arrested in May for their alleged role.
So let's break down what voter fraud actually is, because this mess in Texas is the real deal. It usually starts with some activist campaign worker or organizer going around and collecting ballots that were never submitted. We're talking mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, whatever they can get their hands on. At face value, it might seem harmless. Maybe these people are elderly, maybe they don't drive, and someone offers to drop their ballot off for them. Sounds nice, right? Wrong. Because when a stranger is picking up your vote, anything can happen. They can tamper with it, sign it themselves, or just dump it. It opens the door to chaos. And in Texas, specifically, Frio County, this isn't just unethical, it's illegal. Ballot harvesting is banned altogether. Doesn't matter if you mean well or not, it's against the law. And that's exactly why this case is so explosive. It throws us right back into the same chaos we saw during the pandemic election cycle. Remember, COVID-era voting. Yeah, that mess. That's when this stuff really exploded. People still believe the 2020 election was rigged, and for good reason. Joe Biden pulled 10 million more votes than any presidential candidate in the last 6 elections. Even the guy after him didn't come close. But sure, let's just move on. We took the L and watched a walking fossil stroll through the White House while other people ran the show with an autopin. That's the America they gave us. But when this Texas case started heating up, activist groups were quick to spin the narrative. Suddenly, this wasn't fraud, it was persecution. Check this out. What we are witnessing here today is a calculated campaign of intimidation. That's how one group tried to frame it. They're calling felony charges suppression, like the Attorney General is just out to ruin a small town's civic spirit. LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, jumped in to back several of the indicted officials. And when I say officials, I'm not talking about Louisville interns. We've got the Frio County Judge, Rel Camacho, Gears Councilwoman Rachel Garza, and Councilman Ramiro Trevino arrested. All charged. They stood in court this week, facing a serious investigation straight from the Texas AG's office. But what's the defense? they were just doing their civic duty. Really? Because last time I checked, civic duty doesn't include buying votes with Dr. Pepper and cigarettes. But that's where this is headed. Keep watching. Someone was literally getting paid in Dr. Peppers and cigarettes to run this voter fraud operation. No, I'm not joking. Candidates were coughing up between $1,500 and $2,500 for folks to scoop up mail-in ballots, help with ballot applications, and chauffeur people to vote curbside. Now, when asked about public trust being destroyed, the response was wild. Well, the accusation is already a conviction nowadays. Yeah, tell that to the voters. Lives are ruined, careers torch-stand. Suddenly, we're supposed to feel bad for the people facing charges. Several suspects started tearing up in court, claiming they had nothing to say. The time will come, one said. Oh, it's coming. All right. Then CNN jumps in with a violins and tissues sob story for Cecilia Castellano, trying to make her sound like the victim here. She says her house was raided at 6 a.m. and that she was terrified, flashlights everywhere. Doorbell ringing, her kids sleeping nearby. I'm a strong Latina of faith, she says, like that's supposed to cancel out the felony accusations. Sis, they didn't raid you because of your faith, they raided you because of what's on your phone. She tried to play innocent, like she didn't know why the AG's office was even at her door. Are you like the real Attorney General girl? What? Then she says she asked to get her husband before letting them in, but somehow, by the time she turned around, they were already inside her house, standing next to the dinner table. And now she's mad because her son was nearby and it was a school day. Lady, maybe don't commit election crimes if you're worried about school mornings. You're a grown adult, not a victim. Then comes the Oscar-worthy scene. She asked for a warrant, they gave her a one-pager. There were no specifics, she complained. And here's the kicker, she said if they really wanted her phone, could have done it a different way. What why'd Cecilia? Text you politely and ask. This isn't a customer service survey, it's a criminal investigation. And let's be real, this wasn't some violent kicking down the door situation. They knocked, you opened. They walked in and said, give us the phone, that's it. But CNN just had to spin it. How traumatic, they say. Meanwhile, Cecilia's sitting there complaining about flashlights and the fact they didn't explain everything, like a Netflix plot twist. Sorry, but this ain't a telenovela. It's an indictment. You're not being persecuted for being Latina. You're being investigated for ballot harvesting. Save the dramatics for court, because the public ain't buying this weak defense. You wanted the spotlight. Well, congratulations, you got it. They say don't judge a book by its cover. But maybe we should have judged these folks by their campaign posters. Turns out, behind the smiles and slogans, some of them were allegedly trading Dr. Peppers and gas money for ballots. Yeah, you heard that right. A full-on vote harvesting ring involving elected officials, former mayors, school board members, and a woman who thought she was the elections department. According to the indictment, they weren't just encouraging civic participation, they were buying it, with Venmo payments, cash handoffs, and in one hilarious case, a carton of cigarettes. One of them literally got indicted over soda and smokes. Texas Attorney General says they've got cell phone data, payment records, and more than a few rats flipping Cecilia Castellano, who once ran for state representative, allegedly funneled payments through middlemen to vote harvesters like Cheryl Castillo. And it wasn't just her, there's a whole lineup of local officials on that indictment list, including former mayors and commissioners. Some of them were even warned they were being investigated and still kept the party going. This all started with arrests earlier this year when the Frio County judge and ex-election administrator got popped. Now, the feds are picking off the rest of the roster like it's a season finale. Investigators even said Cheryl Castillo was running around doing this so long, people thought she was official government staff. But Nashi was just the plug for stolen democracy. And let's be real, this ain't just bad politics, it's felony fraud. Under Texas law, this could land you serious prison time. But here's the kickers. Of these folks were bold enough to think nobody would check their phones. Rookie mistake. Now they're all turning on each other faster than a school board meeting in chaos. So what's your take? Is this just another episode of Democrats doing Democrat things? Or is it deeper than that? Some say it's about voter suppression. Others say it's just the system finally working. And if you think this was wild, wait till you hear what Ilhan Omar's people allegedly did with $250 billion in pandemic food funds. Yeah, kids were going hungry while they were cashing in. That video? Right here, don't miss it.